This is Conversations with Mike Sparks.
Are you concerned with the state of America, your state, your community? Then you're in the right place. State Representative Mike Sparks. He and guests are here to talk about local politics, history, faith, and freedom.
All right, Conversation Mike Sparks begins. I'm your host, Mike Sparks, formerly known as the Rutherford Magazine Show. Got an exciting show tonight. And before we get into my guest, Connor, won't you introduce yourself? Connor's a new producer. You're kind of filling in for Tiffany, is that right?
Yes, I am. I've started working here at WGNS back in 2022. I worked here for a year from 2022 to 2023, and I left briefly and then came back just this summer, and I've been working here for the last couple weeks now. So
yes. And your degree, you're at MTSU, right?
Yes, just graduated.
Oh, you just graduated?
Yes.
Okay. And May?
May of 23.
Oh, okay. And your degree is in media?
Media management.
Okay. So you like radio?
I do.
What do you like about radio?
Like the broadcasting. I like the experience, getting to do what I do. That's the best part about it.
You like the guests that come in?
I do.
Have you met Angela Bingham?
Not yet.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Oh, you're in a real treat.
I always do the mornings.
Angela's
Sunday mornings,
super sweet.
And,
Angela,
6:30 in the morning.
Angela, she really is. She's really sweet, and she always has a lot of good guests. So she comes on at 6 right after us. Thank you, Connor. Looking forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Got my buddy.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
I'm Michael Toscano. It was a day of mass demonstrations in Tel Aviv and Jerusalem against the Israeli government's handling of the war against Hamas. And
Oh, is that an amateur mistake?
Might be, but I think we're good now.
Okay, we good? But I want Roger Thomas, Sam Davis home. Roger, we've got a big show next week planned, and it's something you really care about. Tell us about why we should care about that and why it matters.
Having Mr. Jones here from Old Jefferson, and some of the stories you were telling earlier that he about knowing where the road was before, how it was before the air base was even out there.
Well, catch people up. People may not know what Old Jefferson community was.
Oh, it was the county seat from 1803 to 1811, and when Percy Priest Dam come in, it kind of did away with the town, and supposedly it was going to be underwater, and that never happened because we just took a tour there, like February.
Yes.
80 people
Above water.
that the underwater town, you know, but that was kind of it in a nutshell, you know.
Yeah.
But it just kind of federal government kind of
Federal government took your land. Let's just face it.
took everybody's
It took your
land, and so it
And it
kind of
was very
destroyed their
unfair.
way of life back there. You know?
Very
And so-
unfair. Well, Mr. Charles Jones, he owned part of Hickory Hollow Mall, and I don't think Mr. Jones would mind me sharing. I'm hoping he's listening. He's going to join us next week. But you going back, this is what is so cool. I was telling our film producer, that's David Syracuse, that's fixing to join us. I'm hoping that we'll find some directors and film producers, if y'all know anybody, who would take on this issue of Old Jefferson. You'll never find a store in America like this, I promise you. I mean, the Trail of Tears come through there. Jesse James come through there. Andrew Jackson come through there.
Judy Garland's family's
Judy
from
Garland from the
there. Gums, the Gums.
movie, The Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, the Francis Gum,
Yeah.
and they're from that area.
The first African-American lawmaker came from out there. He was Republican, by the way, just saying. But I think there's such a story that needs to be told. I mean, the encroachment from the federal government. But Mr. Jones, I got to talk to him the other day. In fact, I interviewed him. It's on my Facebook under Michael Sparks. What is so cool what Roger's saying about the road? Before the air base, he remembers that.
Oh yeah, now where we live there's no big gravel road. That's where I was raised out there. And when we went on that tour, people don't realize there was a big plantation like everybody's heard the Sam Davis home in that area.
Yeah.
There was a big plantation called the Creech Plantation. And that was actually my great-great-grandparents.
The Creech.
My mom, Creech.
Creech.
Uh-huh.
Well, that tour.
My mom was born in Old Jefferson, yes.
Well, that tour we done, you name some of the families that were out there.
Oh, Joneses, Francis, Pattersons, Eadeses,
Waller,
Victories, yeah.
Mullins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Victories, and like I said, Hunters, Creeches, Swains. You know, it's just, like I said, I named a bunch off that day when it was waiting on Toby. I was trying to kill.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to have to do some stand-up.
Yeah.
People were ready to go. People still blazing the trail.
Toby-
So I
Toby's
started,
our
who all
historian.
families we got from here, you know, and
It is such a cool story, though. But there's so many different angles with that. I mean, there is encroachment from the federal government. The Trail of Tears coming through there. It just amazes me that I mean, there's a few people I think have said they've tried to tell the story, but they haven't included Samson Keeble.
Right. And that's really important because his bust is at the state capitol.
Yes.
You know? And you found an artifact. We can't tell anybody what it is.
Oh, we found something that we think
that's when you were lost. I
yeah,
mean,
we were lost. It's easy to get lost out there.
He found something. So there had to be a God wink moment that you
I call
found
them
it.
God wink moments.
But anyway, we're hoping one day we'd have some kind of museum out there because there's so many people still
Mr.
so
Jones,
passionate is about that.
Well, Mr. Jones had asked me, he said, man, there needs to be, some type of the state needs to do something, but there used to be.
I think the federal would be more with pushettes.
Well, Senator Haggerty's assistant was in my office this week, and I was telling them a little bit about it. But the thing about a story, whether it's a little film treatment or just a documentary, at least gets people to think about it.
Yeah.
Just like what we're fixing to get into, talk about the Uncivil War with David Syracuse and Andrew Huff here in a little bit. But have y'all scheduled a tour for Old Jefferson?
No, we'll probably do the same way we did this year because you have to kind of wait for the water is down and the grass has died out so you can actually see to walk back there, which is February. End of February, right at 1st March is usually the best times to do that.
I mean, it's very fascinating. I was told there's a romance novel. It talked about Old Jefferson. Have you ever heard that?
No.
I mean, seriously, I'm not kidding you. Do you read romance novels?
No.
You don't?
That's not me.
I don't either. Some guys might.
Wait a minute.
I choose not to.
Name some of them you do read.
No, I don't read none of that
okay.
stuff. But anyways, seriously, I heard this romance novel. I mean, it really is fascinating. But also, Sam Davis Home, you got the ghost tours coming up.
And actually, the Sam Davis Home was actually a part of Old Jefferson back in the day.
Yes.
Up till 1868.
That's before Smyrna.
Yeah, that 1868, around when Smyrna, I remember I was talking about that church, Smyrna Presbyterian, where the church was named after.
Yeah.
I think it's about time that became Smyrna, and but it was.
I mean,
they poured it in, their landmark.
To me, it's just very fascinating. I know if Jeff Neal's listening, I know Jeff thinks I talk about Old Jefferson too much, but I just think it needs to be talked about because there's so much history.
Yeah.
I mean, what other area, David, could you relate to that African Americans relate to it, Indians can relate to it, Caucasian relate? There's not another issue out there that I could think of that we all play a part of that history, and to me, it's just fascinating.
Yeah.
We've been trying to save that old King's John's home. We had legislation, and unfortunately, just to be blunt, if I'd have hired lobbyists, I probably could have got it done.
Yeah, that'd be a good place for a museum. Keep that in mind.
I mean, it is. And
that's the only place that's really that left.
Yeah.
The old Greek Revival home. That's the only thing that's actually left.
Yeah, if folks know where the Old Jefferson, because there used to be a bridge through there, and did the military blow it up?
Yeah, one of them did. The other one, the Corps did it.
Well, I was going to tell you. I mean, I'm from Clearwater. That's where we shot the movie, and they had Dolphin Tail. And Dolphin Tail made the Clearwater Marine Aquarium just absolutely explode. It quadrupled in size from that movie. And what you're talking about right there is the same exact thing. So, if Tennessee does throw some money into it, and you don't really need to do a huge budget.
The budget's going to be tight this coming years right here. Seriously.
Well, my thing.
The federal government may have. Well, they don't have much money neither.
Well, yeah, but they did take everybody's land. They didn't have to, so I figured they kind of owe. That's me. They kind of owe.
That's kind of how.
Hey, you want to make people,
a lot of folks,
survivors happy? Won't you kind of give back? I mean, that's just my thought.
There is a sentiment that I feel at the state capitol to remember history, especially Native American and African American. I can feel the pulse with the Republican Party, Democrat Party as well. Edith Moore, if Edith's listening out of Memphis, she's got it's and I hate to be blunt, but it's an old shack right there on North Nashville Highway. Her great grandfather built it. He was a son of a slave, and it's it's pretty much falling, and she's wanting to save it. And I can't do these things as one representative.
Yeah, and it's
I've
about size.
have
This room is not
folks.
very big at all. It's about the size of this room right
here.
here.
And folks, if folks want to know where it's at, just leave the battlefield, go towards Smyrna. You'll see the gravel pit across the street on the left. The old shack is on the right. If it's tomorrow or a day that the gravel pit's closed, you could walk over. I walked over yesterday, made a little video, but it was one man with no resources built that house, and she's made a little documentary.
Still standing.
Mel, I think it's Mel Malone. Mel Malone. If you go to YouTube, Mel Malone, Stones River Battlefield, you'll see it. The ghost tours, real quick. When do they start?
Oh, the 11th, the 12th of October from 6. That's a Friday and Saturday night, and the following weekend, 18th, 19th, 6 to 10. Last wagons go out at 9. And normal admission price is what it is to get in. That's our biggest fundraiser. $20, but it's 15 seniors. Like you, student, you'd get in for like 12. You're a student. Aren't you calling student?
I am a student.
Okay, but
I use my
kids,
student ID
we don't kids come, but we suggest they not come. 'Cause we got it.
It is kind of scary.
It really is. It's a good one.
You're kind of like Rodney Dangerfield and Back to School. That kind
Oh
of
yeah,
student.
I love it. I mean, I love it. I
It
love
pays off in some things, like the student rate, you know.
I learn from the students. It's really pretty. It kind of keeps you young. And speaking of ghost stories, do you believe in ghosts, David?
Do I believe in ghosts? That's a good question. I am Catholic, so I don't know. Am I allowed to believe in ghosts?
You believe in demons?
I believe in
grew up
demons.
Catholic.
Yeah, are those the same thing?
Andrew, do you believe in ghosts?
I would say no, but I do
Yeah.
believe in the spiritual world. Yes.
Okay.
So,
well,
no, I don't
do
think.
they have
I don't
to-
think
do they have
souls
to be-
stay here. I think
He's
they
got
go
to aim
somewhere
one at me
else.
now. I already see this coming. He builds up to it.
Do they have to be ghosts on the ghost tour? Can they be demons? Can they?
We don't want demons, man.
well.
I face enough of them in politics. There are a lot of demons. No, tell them this is really a true story. What are you okay to talk about on the air?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
I don't believe in
I'm putting them on.
first of all, but like I said, I've heard some strange things out there.
Yeah.
Okay, I try to debunk it anytime something happens. On 2 different occasions, I've heard my name called out in the house. I'm a tour guide, or they call it a site interpreter, which is a talker.
It
Is
was a
what I
female,
do.
wasn't it?
Yeah, female both times. But what was funny about that, the lady on the other crew, the weekend crew, I never said anything to her about it. She said, "Roger, I heard your name called out in that house."
Is that not wild?
She said, "I said, was it a guy?" She said, "It was a girl." I go, "Oh man!" And I mean, this is 3 different times, 2 that I heard, and 1 she heard. And then of course the mirror up where Sam's room was. Me and the girl walked up one day, and the mirror spun, and so we thought maybe vibration. So we both jumped up, down, and didn't do it again. So we left a lot quicker than what we got up there.
Well, our friend Marty Lupin, that hopefully he's listening right now.
Yeah, I hope
Marty,
he calls in. He's got a good story.
Yeah,
he can call
Marty,
it into the show, maybe.
Well, the whole month of October we'll be doing paranormal. Talk about that.
Okay.
But Marty claims he's seen a ghost of a soldier. Is that right?
And led him to that the carriage you
Old
see in the
carriage.
museum now. He went.
He helped restore that
after
carriage.
he's looking to see where that and they found a carriage, and he had it restored.
Old barn.
And
Yeah,
it's in our museum.
Well, I used to hear the music box would start playing.
But I've heard that, but I hadn't heard it. But there's a few other stories, but that's just the ones that
Yeah.
I've got a few others, but that's just the ones that I've,
And we're going to start that in October,
Yeah.
and looking forward to it. Anything else about Sam Davis Home? Y'all got tell us about some of the updates y'all are making.
Oh yeah, the home hasn't been painted or refurbished since 1991, so we're having the windows redone, not replaced. They've got some already. They're putting them back in, and it's going to be any boards that have weathered or rotted or anything. They're getting replaced. We're getting a new paint job on it. Gutter work's going to be all redone. It's going to look like a new house on the outside, and it may take 6 months to a year because they're doing it at stages at a time, so we can still operate and give tours in the home.
Yes.
But that's ongoing right now. If you come out here and see plywood in the windows, some of the windows, y'all been broken into? No, we're having work done. That's what's going on.
Yeah, I know y'all do a lot of good work out there. And your director, Jenny
Lamb, and
Who's
John,
some of your board members?
Let's see, Dr. Steve Murphy, which he got a proclamation, last year when we did.
Yeah, we had a
that.
great event out there. Thanks to you.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
Let's say James Patterson, and my son Jimmy Richardson. He's a board member,
Yeah.
and
he's also on the school board.
Yeah, he's vice chairman of Murfreesboro School Board. And let's see, I can't think of all of them. There's 10 of them.
Man, you're supposed to know this stuff, man. Be
No,
ready.
I'm not on the board. That's why I don't know it. I'm just a
there's
complainer.
A lawmaker out of Chapel Hill. He was in the studio, and I said, "What's the 3 governors from your area? In Lewisburg."
You just like to put
went-
people on the spot,
He just
huh?
went blank. He didn't know what to say. We
I
were
know
talking
some of
about there's a ghost light. They're supposed to be at Chapel Hill, and he's seen the light, and then he's also played tricks as teenagers because we used to go out there. But he just went blank. He did not even remember Henry Horton, and which is a big park out there. Anyways, I'm fixing to put y'all on the spot too.
I was just gonna say we might want to leave. I don't know. I freeze up pretty good. I'm an actor. If I got lines, I can say them. But if you don't give me lines, I'm in trouble.
So many people. I've heard so many good things about the movie, and I love the message. And I appreciate your courage. I call these God wink moments. And, for you to reach out to me, and I've been talking about butt hurt. Have you ever heard the term butt hurt?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's an epidemic today. It really is. I'm not kidding you. I'm not trying to be funny. It is an epidemic, brother. And folks not wanting to work good together, and the excessive pride, ego. It's really gotten bad. And I even wrote an op-ed about I said, the lack of civility is a threat to the Republic. And then you emailed me about a month ago about the movie, The Uncivil War, America Divided, and you just happened to pick Smyrna, Tennessee. So I thought it kind of correlates with my whole argument.
Well, I didn't actually pick it. Andrew Huff is
yeah,
the
yeah,
one
sure.
that Andy picked it because he's a Tennessee guy. You live.
I live
right
here in Murfreesboro.
Yeah, where'd you grow up?
So I actually grew up in East Tennessee. So Greene County area, if you know where that's at. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You know Jeff Green? Jeff Green Films?
No.
Okay, he's out there.
Left there to go to college when I was 18, and then I have lived in different places since then, mostly Texas, and then moved back here.
Okay.
And kind of, yeah. So
let's take a commercial break, and then one of your actors is going to call in later.
Yes, he is.
All
yep.
right.
Bronson Buddha Taylor. Yep.
Yes. Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Most people know that their insurance can provide them with coverage for the many life's mishaps. But I can help you also unlock discounts, save money, and get benefits with Farmers Insurance policy perks. Whether we're discussing home or auto insurance, I am here to help you understand these great perks. Call me, Mark Lewis, at 615-625-7070 for a quote, and you can get a whole lot of something with Farmers policy perks.
We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Not available in every state. Only available at select Farmers branded policies underwritten by Farmers Truck or Fire Insurance Exchanges or affiliate.
Hi there, my name is Rusty Russ. I, along with my sons, Luke and Reed Russ, sell real estate for Stevens Group in the Middle Tennessee area. We are a team of professionals who have the knowledge of local and regional market, which allows us to offer you a full range of commercial, industrial, residential, and investment real estate services, matching our resources with your needs. You can call us at 615-366-8900 or at my cell 615-406-5553 or email jrustyrust@comcast.net.
AFFI is Middle Tennessee's premier choice for pest, wildlife, and moisture control. They specialize in those difficult and unique cases. You can reach them by phone at 615-300-2395. That's 615-300-2395. Or stop in at 200 Glenrose Lane in Smyrna.
Hey, I'm Floyd, and I'm inviting you to join me at CR. That's Celebrate Recovery. We meet at Family Worship Center, 3045 Memorial Boulevard on Sunday at 6 p.m. We're a 12-step Christ-centered program that offers help for all the hurts, habits, and hang-ups that's causing you pain. The program works if you work it, and I'm proof. For other CR groups, go to CelebrateRecovery.com and click on the group finder. Hope to see you soon.
All right, we're back. Conversation Mike Sparks. Talking lack of civility and some of the problems that I see that's kind of happening in our culture that really concern me. As Americans, we're seeing threat from foreign governments, and just so many folks that just don't seem to work. I see it locally. I see it national level. I see it in the state. And I think it's not just me that needs to be concerned, but we need to have other folks that are concerned as well. I was looking for a scripture that I had on here I saved this morning. But David, going back to the movie, the Uncivil War, America Divided, what was kind of your inspiration to touch on this subject?
So the inspiration was literally me and a buddy that, you know, it was the middle of COVID 2020. Everything was had gone to just complete garbage. And, you know, we were back. We were the only two back playing basketball, which is a big part of the movie. Byron and I playing basketball, my buddy Bronson, who's going to call in. And we were just having these conversations. What do you think about what's going on with George Floyd? What do you think about what's going on with the lockdowns, all that stuff? And we were able to talk about it civilly, but all of our friends and family weren't. And when I mentioned the story of the film to people, first thing everyone says is, I've got a friend in high school I don't speak to anymore, or my uncle doesn't talk to my nephew anymore. And it's sad that people can't talk about these things anymore.
Well, you know what I liked? Angela Bingham's going to come on after me at 6. She came. We had about, how many we have watched the movie? About
25,
27, something like that.
And you had probably 10 African Americans that sat through there? Was it about 8?
Yeah.
Okay. And, you know, the movie's a little, you know, like I was sitting with my mother-in-law, okay? It was just a little awkward, and her best friend, Linda North, if you're listening. But, you know, you got a few scenes in there that's a little, it's a little suggestive.
Racy.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
I didn't have a problem with them, you know.
Yeah, it was just that part was just thrown in there for the fun, you know, just to lighten it up, because we wanted some levity, because it's a very serious subject, and they're conversations we need to have, I think.
Well, the cool thing about your movie, I see a lot of, you know, I'm in politics, so I see a lot of partisanship, and I can be very partisan, you know, folks that know me, but I'm also willing to listen to the other person. I run across this quote, and I think Buddha's listening, so I want him to hear this. It's by George Washington. It said, "The spirit of party serves always to distract the public council and enfeeble the public administration. It agitates the community with ill-founded jealousies and false alarms, kindles the animosity of one part against another, foments occasional riot and insurrection. It opens the door to foreign influence and corruption, which find a facilitated access to the government itself through the channels of party passions. Thus, the policy and the will of our country are subjected to the policy and will of another." And that's George Washington warning against the dangers of excessive pride and partisan conflict, advocating for a unified approach to governance. And you know, I think about my father, who was in World War II, flew 24 bombing raids in Germany. Think about the 58,300 young 22, 23-year-old Vietnam soldiers that never returned home. And then you see the conflicts that we have here, and see, you know, I witnessed City Hall on fire in Nashville. I witnessed Antifa in front of my house. I'm the only one they've targeted in front of my house. So and then my assistant's African-American, who was upset over the George Floyd stuff. So everything about your movie, I could resonate. I could connect with, because I witnessed, you know, this. Now, I didn't see Antifa. My wife's seen them in front of my house, and the 7 cop cars and beating a drum. So that irritates me, because they never once called me. They never once emailed me. But I think it's part of a plan. I think it's part of learning for me as a representative, to try to hear other people's concerns and what they're. But there's got to be a better way. There's got to be a better channel. And I think your film kind of illustrates that. And I think our next guest, go ahead and introduce your actor, Buddha, and where you found him.
Yeah, so Bronson Buddha Taylor, we found him in Atlanta. I found him on Backstage, a resource that we use to get actors and to find roles and stuff. And I was very lucky to find him. I actually was not able to hire him at first, and I was very disappointed because, and I had to call him and tell him, I said, "I'm sorry, man, I can't give you the role for one reason or another." Well, then that opened up, and I called back, because he said, he sent me this unbelievable, amazing email. He said, "I understand, I appreciate it." He said, this movie really spoke to me, though, and in fact, I don't know why I'm saying this. Buddha, why don't you tell us, you know, what you said there? Buddha, you there?
If he's on.
Is he there?
Okay, well, I'm not hearing him. So
if he's listening, call back, Buddha.
Call back. So he sent me this unbelievable email. He told me all about how he wanted to serve his country. He went to the military. He was special forces. I mean, he's a special, amazing guy, and the humility when he responded with that email, I think we talked about it. I said, Andy, we got to get this guy. He's fantastic. And as soon as we had the option, that's exactly what we did.
He
right?
plays the part well.
Yeah. He was as well. Just brought a levity to everything, and which, as David mentioned, these are hard topics to talk about, and so. So he brought a levity to doing it, but then I think the other thing that also is incredibly exciting to have is sometimes you'll have an actor that takes the job and they get the paycheck and they come on and they do the role and it's kind of it. But working with Buddha was really unique because, as David kind of mentioned and reflected, he actually cares about this exact same thing. Yeah. Cares about the civility, cares about having the conversation, which I think brought just a genuineness to the movie that you can feel. Yeah.
I hope he wasn't listening this whole time because his head's going to be growing. Buddha, you there? No, we still don't have him.
Are you supposed to hang this up?
All right. Well, we'll keep trying to get him. He'll show up eventually.
You got it, Connor? We're having some technical difficulties.
All right. So anyway, the film is about the interplay between Byron and I, our characters, and I think everybody in the theater. You saw the theater. You saw it in the theater? Did you feel uncomfortable with the conversations that were happening between them? Okay. No. There were no sex scenes in the film.
With some mother-in-law.
Yes, there were
awkward.
Yeah, but there were no actual sex scenes in the film. There's no sex.
So my mother-in-law
discussion. Yeah, there was discussion.
She's like Southern Baptist.
Yes. Yeah. So, but there is no nudity in the film. Yeah, at times though, I think people are upset with the conflict between the two gentlemen there, myself and Byron.
Well, that was one of the things that drew me to the story. There's obviously a little bit of the whole COVID thing. There's the political thing. There's a lot of that. But what I loved about the way that the story kind of set this conflict up is that these two guys grew up not even feeling like they had to be at odds because of their skin color or because of any political opinion or anything. Like they're just buddies and they play basketball together. And that to me was such an influence or such an interesting dynamic. Is here's these two guys that have been buddies for 40 years and they're basketball players, and now all of a sudden social media and news stations and politicians are telling them not only can they not be friends, they have to be enemies. Like
it's a flashpoint, right? It's a flashpoint. It's just like boom.
And so for me, the movie, what I found interesting as a director was the movie's asking the question: is that true? Can they be friends, or do they have to be enemies? Like, is that what our culture's telling us? And so that's what we set out to.
Well, I think some of this. And I know this sounds conspiratorial. I do think some of the conflicts that we see, I think some of those are infiltrated by foreign governments, just to be blunt about it. I think there's people that want to divide us, Democrat, Republican, black, white, rich, poor. I think they want to divide this country.
Well, not just foreign governments. I mean, there's lots of parties that benefit, that get richer from it on both sides of the aisle. Outside the country, inside the country, that has nothing to do with Republican, Democrats, people that are just selling stuff that profit.
Well, like I've often said, 90% of the media is controlled by 5 huge corporations that want to sell.
Absolutely.
And I think they have sometimes a nefarious motive to divide us. That's just what I've witnessed for the past several years. I've always pictured a guy holding what's it, like a puppeteer?
Yeah, pulling the strings.
What's the little thing?
The marionette.
Marionette. Yeah. And he's guiding it, and he's playing that, and just keeping us. Because I've seen the media create conflict. Like I use the word inner city. Well, I care about the inner city. I care about kids that don't have a father. I care about the drug problem. I just said inner city, and they took that and made a news story out of it because I said inner city.
Right, and you can make an argument for inner city means 1,000 different things depending on who's saying it, what their point of saying it is, and who's listening to it, and what their point is in hearing it. I mean, it all depends on who's saying it, who's listening to it. Yeah. So it can be made anyway. So, Buddha, are you on the phone now? Nope, he's still not with
there.
us. So, Andy, what?
Okay. How do you?
Nope, we can't hear him.
Show
we
me the
can't hear
button.
him here though.
Oh, hit it.
Real quick, while he's patching him in, I'll mention that this is a little bit of a smaller storyline in the movie, but I think is exactly what you're talking about, and that is the effect social media has on all this, because social media benefits greatly from division, greatly from controversy. I mean, that's what drives. I mean, you know, you kind of clickbait, exactly, or hate click or hate follower. That's the controversy is way more engaged with than the non-controversy, and so there's a vested interest in driving that division, I think, from social media in a big way. So
absolutely,
which is a little bit of the storyline of the movie.
Yeah, that's a big storyline. I think it's very big. I always say, you know, if you are not looking someone in the eyes, it's easy to dehumanize
You
them.
use the car analogy, the traffic analogy.
The car, yes, absolutely. Somebody cuts you off in traffic, and you give them the bird. You're screaming obscenities at them because you don't realize that that's your neighbor or that's somebody's grandmother or somebody's kid. But if you were standing in a supermarket and someone cut you off with their shopping cart, you're not going to scream at them because you're looking at them. Yeah. Most people aren't going to scream because you're looking at them and you can see that's another person. That's somebody that lives in my state where I know it's a different world, I think.
But
So
in the movie, I think you display that really well with the folks in line. One has a mask on, one doesn't, because that really happened in a lot of grocery stores.
Yeah, and that was
the gas stations.
That was the dehumanization of the mess, because everybody's all covered up, and they were talking about this at the time, that it dehumanized people, and that by only seeing eyes, you weren't really seeing the entire person, and it was kind of like being back in your car and screaming at someone for cutting you off for losing 2 seconds of your life while they go in front of you.
Did y'all have any criticisms of the issue of COVID itself? Did that ever come up?
Being depicted?
Yeah, I mean, you know, because so many people were fighting over mask, not mask, wash your hands, social distancing.
I mean, by the time, you know, we were making it, and then ultimately by the time we've even started showing it, I think everybody's kind of on the same page with the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
So way less controversial stuff over COVID and the depiction of it and everything that was going on there, and some of the stuff we say in the movie about it. Because I think everybody, I mean, the government's even, or people in the government's even come out and said the whole 6 foot thing was made up.
Yeah.
So it's like they're admitting
Do you trust
that
government?
now.
Do y'all trust government?
No, I don't.
What about you, baby?
Not particularly. I don't particularly trust it on my side or their side.
Yeah.
You know, it's not a I trust our side. I don't trust it.
Yeah,
in general.
Well, I was sharing with you. I call it nefarious.
Wait, hold on.
activity.
Was that a gotcha question? Because you're a representative, right?
That's why I should say that's why I don't trust it.
Oh, they're locking the doors right now.
I know. But you know, last week, you know, my Facebook got hacked live on the radio.
Oh wow.
We were talking about addiction. I was getting a picture of Jolie and Tim Henderson and the other guy, and it literally was shut down. My Facebook was shut down.
I hear the dial tone.
We got the dial tone now.
We got a dial tone.
There's a dial tone coming through. That's gone now.
Okay.
So,
well, what?
I mean, nobody really wanted to hear from Buddha anyway. I mean, you know.
What if you go ahead and call him and what if we try having? What if you could take the phone and just put it up to the mic?
We can try that. So, so in the meantime, while we're waiting, it's funny you were talking about the vision, and you asked if I could share the story. Okay,
let me just
we got
improvise. Let me see.
Let's see.
Hey, Buddha, how you doing? How you doing? Sorry, we're having technical difficulties. I'm hoping you could hear. I've got the phone up.
Let's see.
Up to the mic. Say a few words, Buddha.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it.
Can't hear you.
No,
Nope.
y'all can. Will it
Not
pick
working.
Up? I can put him on speaker. Put him on speaker. Let's see how it works. Go ahead, Buddha.
Hey, everybody. It's Ron. How's it going?
Doing good. Sorry, we're having technical difficulties, man.
I don't know if I'm hearing it
Nope.
through the.
Not hearing through the.
Y'all aren't catching it?
No.
Y'all aren't catching it?
Buddha, it's the man trying to keep you down, man. I mean, this is specifically what this movie is about.
Yeah.
Maybe if I call him and put him on my speaker, because I can hold it right here.
You want to try it?
Yeah.
Buddha, can you call Andrew, and we'll try to get this to work. Sorry about that. I was looking so forward to the special forces dude calling in. How big a fella is he?
He's big enough that I didn't enjoy saying some of my lines to him.
I bet. Yeah.
It's funny in the movie we kind of look about the same size. We are not the same size. he is a big man.
He's a big old guy. Let's try
All
it.
right,
Go
let's
ahead,
see
Andrew.
it.
All right, what's going on, man?
Hey, I can hear you.
Can you hear him?
Y'all good? Thank you so much. Yeah, tell us about what you liked about this movie, and sound like you had. I mean, I watched the movie. You had some conviction in playing the part of Byron.
Yeah, so what I really liked about the movie was the contrasting ideologies as it pertained to George Floyd and, the whole political spectrum. You have two guys who have been friends forever, and all of a sudden this particular topic comes up and their friendship is strained. And that was so much of what was happening during that time frame, where it just seemed like, the world, not necessarily the United States, were split into factions where we were pitted against one another just because you felt or seen things this way through your lens, through your experiences, vice the other person. So that's what really drew me to the role and how important it was to tell this story.
Buddha, can you tell the story about when you actually did your audition for the role?
Oh my God, yes. So it took a while to get that audition done because, I read through the sides for the audition and I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. I have to get it done. So I called a number of people for my reader and finally got one. And me and my reader, my female reader, we were in the room, doing the audition, and she stopped. And we got into this huge argument over the content. We probably stopped like 3 or 4 times. It was heated. She's cursing me out, yelling at me. How could you feel this way? What are you thinking? I'm like, it's a script. I'm just playing a role, man. Just like calm down. But that moment is when I really knew that this movie was powerful and it was going to be very impactful.
So Mike was asking, what is a reader? So if you could explain just for the audience that's unsure about that.
Yeah, so your reader is the person that helps you with the audition. The other person that's reading the other lines that are not yours for the audition. So, I was portraying the role of Byron, and my reader was portraying the role of my wife. And again, we were going back and forth. So yeah, your reader is just the person that's reading the other lines for your audition.
And she did not like the viewpoint that you were holding as Byron, or she did not like the viewpoint she was holding as your wife?
She didn't like the viewpoint that she was holding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, all right. Now, in the movie, her brother is a cop, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Which made sense. For her to take that position. But expand on that a little bit, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so what initially happened is me and David, actually before that, she and I are sitting on the couch, and I was just explaining how, he's gotten really, Tom has gotten very political lately, overbearing. And then we mentioned the subject of the George Floyd case and how I felt about it. And she was like reminding me that, if our kids, black, white, or indifferent, but, if our kids were acting the way that George Floyd was acting with the cop, would you accept it? Would you be okay with that?
Wow.
And my answer was no. She's like, well, then if you can't accept your own kids acting this way and you would want to correct them, then how is it okay for someone else to do it and then you have an attitude about it? I was like, dang.
Wow, this is really interesting because you're playing a part that's the opposite of your personal feelings. Is that correct?
Yeah, so I'm different.
Yeah,
I would say.
Okay.
One of the things, I the way I see things is I like to say that I'm a realist. Instead of choosing a side, left, right, and whatever, I choose what's right.
Yes, sir.
And that's all it is to it. You're either right or you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're either a good person or you're not. And that's just where I land. So it puts me at odds a lot of times with even my family, close friends.
Yeah.
Because there's a certain stereotype that that tends to be inflicted upon both communities, black or white. I use that because it's straight down the middle. You have to be this way. You have to think this way, and it's not. That's just not logical to me. It's I can think this way, and I can still find a flaw in it. I see your point. However, it's not the truth.
Yeah. Was your father military? Was your dad military? Was your father military?
Yeah, my father was military, yes.
Okay. I mean, that has something to do with it. with some of your personal beliefs, correct?
Well, I was in the military for 25 years. So, I served alongside a lot of different races, ethnicities, creeds, beliefs, and things of that nature. So I'm fighting for freedom and democracy, in foreign countries where there are absolutely none. To only come home and see that it's just as bad here. For absolutely no reason. And I was listening in to what you were saying earlier about how David was saying how it's different factions. They have an agenda to keep everybody at odds. And we as the populace have to be smart enough to recognize that I'm not your enemy. I'm actually your brother.
Amen.
And just because we have a difference of opinion or we were raised in different environments is no reason for me to hate you or to want to kill you or to want to see something happen to you. For what? Unless you did something to me personally, I have nothing against you.
Right. And it's funny, Buddha, that you were talking about that you maybe have a different viewpoint of your character. When you think about it, when you hire an actor, what are the chances, especially in a movie like this, where it is so passionate and everybody has such strong feelings about it, what are the chances that, Buddha is going to feel exactly what his character feels, and that the woman that plays his wife is going to feel exactly what she feels? So it's very normal that you're going to get people that don't feel that way. And in fact, the first actress that we had that tried out for Buddha's wife's part, she said, I won't say these lines. I don't think a black woman would say these lines. And we went to the next person. We said, oh, okay, thank you. The next person, she said, I love this character. I have no problem saying these lines. I will absolutely say these lines. But, what are the chances?
What was her name?
Hannah Lewis played it, and I was going to give a shout out to her just because her scenes with Buddha just are fantastic. She has, one scene where it's the two of them talking, but then we have the big blow up scene at the dinner where Byron and Tom almost come to blows.
That was the best
well,
part of the movie.
Don't give it all away. What are you guys doing here? People got to go see the movie on Thursday at 6:30 at the Premiere 6.
Well, but what I wanted to say is that, David, you said interesting, and maybe get Buddha's opinion on this too, is that, so personal opinion, my favorite scene in the movie by far to watch and also to direct, just because it is the crux of that whole story. But that was a tough scene for you guys as actors. So, Buddha, I didn't know if you had anything. David has shared some stories about just how tough that scene was. And I don't know if you have anything to add or, talk about how emotionally you felt through that.
Yeah, David was being very mean.
That was Tom. Tom was being mean.
No, it was the mind, the headspace that you have to get into to do a role that intense, because we are making a movie and we're trying to sell the point that these two gentlemen who have been friends forever are now at a very critical moment in their friendship, and I think me and David are friends. Personally, I like him. We had a real good rapport. But you have to put
this
all
is
that
being
aside
recorded, so
and get into the right headspace to do that scene. So it was no longer Buddha talking to David. It was Byron talking to Tom, and having to work myself up, those emotions up, was very intense. And then the following scene with me talking to my wife, to Hannah, was again, having to bring myself back down, and I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a point where I'm still in the moment, and that wasn't written in the script. Andy could tell you, it wasn't written in the script. It was I was still intense. I was still in that moment, and then Hannah gave me this look, which is the stereotypical black woman, white look. Like, I know you not. But it was things, the nuances that are not said that that you just understand. And everybody who's in the theater watching, females, I'm gonna say, white, black, or indifferent, they know that they know exactly where she was coming from when she gave me that look. And all the men in the room know exactly where I was coming from when I changed my tone.
The funny thing, dude, is at that point in the movie, every time I watch it, I always laugh, and everybody else is so serious because it's such a tense scene. But I laugh because, she just gives it to you in that moment, and the look on your face is just great. So.
But it was it was such a joy directing you guys, just because, like I said, it's one of my favorite scenes in the movie, and it is the sort of a little bit of the climax of not really, but you know what I mean, where it is kind of the moment where we break everything apart in those relationships. But it just to have actors who could come in and this is the story that David tells, is you have to, when you're filming, you perform it, but then the scene, but then you have to perform it again because we're filming different angles of it. And then you have to perform it again.
and again, and again, and again.
So, to have actors who could bring that level of intensity, multiple times was fantastic.
Well, that was easy because I just wanted to hit Buddha. I'm like, what are you being so mean to me for, Byron?
You don't have an idea of how many people wanted me to for real jack you up.
Oh no, I know. When we were at the we saw the premiere for Georgia together, Buddha and I, in Savannah, and I was walking up there, and one of the ladies, she had a smile on her face, but she said, I wanted to hit Tom so bad, and I kind of ran away real quick. But the film elicits a lot of response because people fall on one side or the other, and they fall that way vehemently. It's not like I kind of feel like no, people fall one side or the other, and when you sit in that theater, you are going to feel the tension of those people watching that film, and you'll feel hands start to clench as they get angry about it. And that's what, because that's what we should be discussing. Why are we getting so angry at each other?
Boo, did you hear me earlier talking about Antifa showed up at my house? Did I tell you about that? Did you hear us talking?
No, I did not.
I'm in politics, and I told somebody had called me, an attorney had called me and said, hey man, just give you a heads up, you're a target. You need to be careful. And so I told my wife, here's my life insurance policy. This is a true story. I'm not making this up. Sounds fictional. But I said, hey, I've got 4 life insurance policies. Here's where they're at in case something happens to me. But General Haston with the Tennessee National Guard wanted me to fly out to California and watch a 278 do maneuvers, And we have part of the base over here in Smyrna, Seward, used to be called Seward Air Force Base, where I was born. My dad was World War II. And he knows one of my friends was killed in Iraq, Sergeant Asbury Hahn. Freddie Hahn was killed in Iraq. And so I'm kind of close with him. And he said, you want to come out here, Mike, and fly out with us? And so I flew out there. And that night, my phone started lighting up. And my wife, she was real calm about it. She said, hey, just want to let you know there's 7 cop cars out here. There's 6 protesters yelling through a bullhorn, beating a big drum, woke up all my neighbors. But what I think they're paid. They're paid protesters. I heard $25 an hour with this Biden inflation. They've probably taken it to $45 an hour to get people interested. But they never once emailed me. They never called me. They never texted me. They never had a civil conversation. They had to resort to uncivility to disrupt my whole neighborhood like that. And I've got a term I'd like to use on the air, but I can't. You've heard it with your military buddies. My dad called people a bunch of numbnuts, and he was military. And but the message is good, but we got to have civility. We got to be able to have a discussion, look folks in the eyes, and have a conversation. But what was interesting, I think David witnessed this, and Roger witnessed this. Roger may not even know this. The other night, Roger and I, he's right here beside me, and we were talking about where he used to work at Bridgestone. I said, hey man, I had a friend of mine that worked at Nissan. I hope Ray doesn't mind me sharing his name. Ray Walden. Ray, if you're listening. we worked together at Nissan, and we would share ideas and dreams we had for our lives and starting a business, this and that. We were probably, I guess, 30, 31, somewhere in there, maybe 32. And I posted on Facebook about Trump. It was something, no, it was not what Trump, it was the Waltz and Harris thing, some video. And it was about the police precinct burning in up there in Milwaukee. It was true, Minneapolis. Yep. That's a true story. I mean, that's true. It really happened. And I just posted on there. Well, my friend Ray took issue with it. And David, see, this literally manifests itself because what was interesting, I just bragged on Ray to Roger, and I have not seen Ray in at least 2 years since at the polls. But what I was bragging on Ray for, I was really down in the dumps, and wife and I went through a tough time about 12 years ago, and I was chairman of our ushers at church, and I was doing the offering, and I was sitting in the back of the church, and I was just kind of down, you know. And guys, we don't really talk about, you know, being down and stuff, keep it to ourselves. And I was just down, man. I mean, I was really in the dumps, and all of a sudden, I get a text, and it was from Ray. And it said, and he says, "Mighty man of God, keep you held high. God's got your back." And I was like, this is so weird. And I later called him. I said, "Man, why would you text me like that?" He says, "Dude, you were just on my mind." And that was the Lord. I know that was the Lord telling him, give his brother some encouragement. So he kind of took issue with my post about Waltz and Harris. And then you, David's literally playing the part of the movie. So he's like, you know, talking about, well, if Trump did this, well, this is probably why, da-da-da-da-da. And I haven't read the last comment. I don't know if Ray's listening or not, but love you, brother, if you listen. But there's a point right there that me and him were having some conflict right there.
But you guys
Facebook.
were talking, though. That's the important thing, because you didn't scream at each other. I know you guys, you were like, "Hey, buddy, what's up?"
He used an exclamation point.
Oh, well, I didn't know.
If you use three, that's like really. He may not use three.
Yeah, I'm curious, Buddha. You said that you have the Beaumont. We've got the Beaumont film tomorrow, and you said you've been talking to a lot of folks about that. Did you have anything that you wanted to talk to about the group for Beaumont?
So, you know, primarily where I grew up in how you said earlier, the inner city.
Inner city.
You got a little trouble for saying that.
Yeah, I did. A lot of hot water.
David said it correctly, though. It's all about who says it, who's receiving it, and what agenda, you know, is being met. Yeah, I grew up in the inner city, very rough neighborhood. Most of the people that I grew up with are either dead or in jail or just getting out of prison.
Yes.
So we had a party a week ago when I first got here, back in my old neighborhood that I grew up in. And initially, I was skeptical about going. One, because I have grown up and I've moved on from that lifestyle. And so I'm not the same person. But again, you know, these are my closest friends from childhood. So I went, and it was funny to see the embrace. They had all seen the trailer for the movie. They were all super excited about it. And the few people, you know, that I had a conversation with were very interested in the subject matter, which completely shocked me of how in tune they were. And it was not what you would think. It was to the contrary of what I thought. Most of them would think. They were actually more on David's Tom's mentality.
Team Tom.
Yeah.
Which again, it completely shocked me. And you know, we started talking politics a little bit. And again, you know, just where they landed on the political spectrum, it absolutely shocked me. Yeah. And again, it's not everybody, obviously.
Yeah.
But you know, it just the people that I spoke to, I stereotyped them.
Yes.
Because of the environment that we were in, and I know these people.
Oh, Byron! Byron, I'm so disappointed in you.
In 30 years either.
Yes.
So it was good to see. Now on the other side, I spoke at my mom's church, and it's completely the opposite direction.
Yeah.
To the point where, you know, there were going to be, how David said, a lot of clenched fists. And David, we might not want to sit in the front row like we did in Georgia.
As long as I'm sitting next to you,
we might get popcorn or something put on that.
as long as I'm sitting next to you, Buddha, I'm feeling pretty secure.
Well, Buddha, you know something that's interesting. My former assistant's African American. It's probably the first time in the state's history that an African American was a campaign like manager for a Republican in a state house race. Everybody loved him. I mean, seriously, everybody loved him. And I often say they like him better than me, and people say, "Can you blame him?" You know, but he's a lovable guy. And when I first met him, I started talking about history. He's out of Memphis. I told him a lot of the history that I know. You know, the first black lawmaker come out of our area. He was a Republican. He had white mentors. He was born free. That's the area that we want to bring awareness to, the town called Old Jefferson. But I invited him to come up on the radio, just hang out with me for the day. He come up to the station. I don't think he's going to mind me sharing this. He might. But I see him open up a newspaper. My friend Marty Lovin witnessed it. And I didn't know nothing about his politics. I just knew he's out of Memphis. Bright young man, very polite. And he opens up a newspaper. He's on the front cover of TSU, which is a black college. And it said, the title said, "Why I Voted for Donald Trump." And it's his face on the front of TSU newspaper. I said, "You voted for Donald Trump?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "How much persecution you face?" He said, "None. I just explained my position. Everybody was good with it." Now he's going to law school. And what I like about Marvin, he's an independent thinker. He thinks for himself. Everybody loved him. Now, he did get pulled over by the cops. That's a whole nother story. But he had Shelby County tags. I don't know if that's probable cause or not. But everybody just loved this young man. If you're ever in the Nashville area, I'd love for you to meet my former assistant, Marvin. Are you ever planning on visiting Nashville anytime soon?
I was trying to make it for the showing out there. But I have a conference that I'm the keynote speaker for on the same day.
That's Thursday at 6:30 at the Premiere 6 movie theater.
Now, what city are you in?
If I'm ever able to make it that way, I would absolutely love to.
Now, what city are you in Texas?
Right now, I'm in Beaumont, Texas.
Beaumont.
He's from Atlanta.
Oh, you're from
No,
Atlanta.
no. He's from Savannah.
Savannah.
Oh, Savannah's beautiful.
Wait, what?
No, Augusta.
Augusta, that's what I meant.
Yeah, I was going to
Augusta,
say,
not
I was pretty sure it wasn't Savannah.
Well, I knew it wasn't Atlanta, so nobody knows where you're from, Buddha. You're a man of mystery.
But yeah, currently I'm in Beaumont, Texas, where we're about to do the Texas premiere showing of the Civil War America Divided.
Now, I will say that, Buddha, served our country, which is fantastic, and is a great actor, and just so many things about him that we could say. But he and I shared a house during the filming of the movie, and I just want to say that what I know him best for is his cooking.
Oh, he cooks. What's the cook?
I think he's mostly known for his laugh, but the cooking too.
He can cook anything, man. It was too good. I had the best of all the worlds.
Yeah, that was a good time. It really was. And food brings everyone. It brings cultures together.
That's it. That's what it is.
No, you're right about that. Well, music as well. Let me ask. I know I'm putting y'all on the spot. Are y'all believers? I never even got to ask. Well, you're Catholic, so you're a believer.
Well, I'll let Doc Connor, director here, Andrew, take that real quick.
Yeah, I'm a Christ follower, and was actually in ministry for 10 years before I started doing film.
Yeah.
And television.
Buddha, do you consider yourself a Christian believer?
Yeah, I actually am. And believe it or not, when I first started going to college, I was going to theology school at Wayland Baptist University.
Really? I'd have never known that in your role in the movie, especially Tom David here. Yeah.
So I'll just say again, the movie is showing Thursday at 6:30 at Premiere 6. We'd love to have everyone out there. We've gotten great reviews for it. It's been really fantastic. We're very thrilled to have Andrew on this because he is from Murfreesboro or Smyrna?
Murfreesboro.
From Murfreesboro. And he's got a great, you were talking about, is he a believer?
Yeah.
He's got a great series that's coming out soon, Doc Connor, which if you want to say something about that real quick.
Yeah. Well, so we created a streaming kids series that we've turned into a feature film that we're going to release in theaters in the spring. And it's a fun family mystery adventure film because my wife and I produced together, and we just felt like a lot of the stuff coming out entertainment-wise is too dark, especially for kids. And so we wanted to give families a trustworthy alternative at the theaters.
Yes.
So it's called Doc Connor Web Detective. It's about a teen detective searching for a missing dad, and has biblical values in it. And it'll be coming out next year.
And folks, because you're going to come on with Angela, Booty, you going to be able to hang out for the next show with Angela Bingham?
I can.
Yes, you'd love Angela. She's sweetheart. She really is. Well, thank you guys for coming up, and we're out of time. And I'll see y'all premiere 6:30
Thursday. Be out there. Thank you so much. Appreciate you having us on.
Thank you.